In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you things that I wish I had known before I started applying to colleges academically, for you musical theater people out there. First, when should you start? So there is a Common App essay that is required by most schools that you're going to have to write. You also will have to fill out pages upon pages upon pages of personal information that each school needs to know on the Common App that you can do before you even know your first school you're going to apply to. It takes forever, so you really have to get a start on that. And I would say start in August. Start before school and get as much done as you can before school, because once school starts and you have your auditions to worry about and your pre-screens to worry about and applying to school and maybe you're in a show and you have to do well in school, it's going to be very overwhelming. So take as much stress as you can off yourself during the summer. And if you're watching this during quarantine, you have extra time to start, so why not? Now, I did not really want to write essays in the summer, and I did start, but I didn't do enough. And during the year, I was very, very overwhelmed. I mean, the amount of times I went to my counselor crying because I was just so stressed, astronomical. I was in her office so many times that I was there during not one, but 2 fire drills. I mean, come on, that's a lot. Now, if you already have a list and you have some schools that you know you're going to apply to, look on the pre-screen, most are on accepted, and see if you need to apply academically to the school first. If you don't do it, because if you don't pass the pre-screen, you're gonna save money. But if you do, then start applying to those schools. And if you don't know where to get started for your list, check out my video on how to do that. Next, how can you make the workload easier on yourself? Now, if you are doing musical theater, you're gonna have a lot of essays to write. You're gonna have your Common App essay. You're also going to have supplemental essays that are usually 250 to 500 words, and some schools have 1, some schools have 5. So, if you have 20 schools, that's a lot of extra essays you're going to have to write. So to make it easier on yourself, look at the commonly asked questions like, why do you like this school? And you can, for that, write out a little template of writing about why you like the campus and why you like the program, and most of that is going to be pretty similar for the schools, so you can copy and paste a little bit, maybe not directly for that specific essay, but a lot of my essays were very similar, and sometimes they would have the exact same prompt, but it was shorter words, so I would just have to shorten it or add to it, and it made it a lot easier. Another thing you should do 100%, look at Common App and look at Coalition. Now, I only had 2 schools on Coalition, but that's still more than 0. So I still had to write the required essay on Coalition. Something you want to do is look at Common App and Coalition and pick an essay topic that is common between the 2. Now, they're probably not going to be word for word the same, but I only had to write 1 essay because it was the same gist instead of writing 2 essays, which is so much more work. Another thing you want to do when writing your essays is write a story, no matter how short it is. This makes it so much more fun. I did not want to write this 1 essay for the longest time, and then I thought of a story that I wanted to write about, and I wrote it in record time because I had so much fun. One of my essays, I wrote about how I almost died in a desert because of a camel. And my first line was, "We're going to die." And you had to read through the rest of the essay to figure out why I was going to die. And I was able to connect that to why I wanted to pursue musical theater. Now, was it stretching the truth a little bit? Because did they really go together? No. But I was able to tell a fun story, reel them in, have a fun time, and I was able to connect it to why I wanted to pursue musical theater. Also, use a lot of imagery of like what you were seeing and, you know, all the 5 senses to really make it more interesting to read. And the people reading your essays are not going to be the people who are the heads of the musical theater program. So don't feel pressured that you have to seem like you know everything about musical theater, because they're not the ones reading it. Next, be professional in your essays. Now, first, I didn't want to be that professional because how do you show your personality and be professional at the same time? It can be a little difficult, but you want to use higher vocabulary, not to the point where it looks like you've thesaurused every word of your essay, but you really want to balance showing your personality but making it professional because you're applying to college and they have higher standards there. Another thing you have to do, write your essays in Google Drive. This way you can share it with people and they can look over your essays and leave comments on your essays. You need to get people reading your essays. I always had my dad reading my essays. It would go past his eyes several times, and that's only one person, so of course you want to have as many people as you want, and you really need people's feedback so that it can be as great as possible. Another thing, organization is key. I had so many schools to keep track of, so I had folders for each school that was in a folder labeled college audition essays. And in each school's folder, I had a document for every supplemental essay I had to write for that school, so that it was very organized. And then if I finished an essay and I turned it in, I would put a check mark in the title, and then I would do the same for the school once I finished and turned in the application. And also, if you do have the college application folder, you can share that entire thing with anybody, and then they can view all of your essays and easily go over them and make corrections. To keep organized, you should also have a loose calendar of the essays you want to get done and whatever you're planning on working on that week for college, if it's pre-screen work, or if it's just practicing material. You want to have a calendar that isn't set in place, because if you do and you miss one thing, then it'll throw everything off. So you don't need to have necessarily a day-by-day calendar, but having something with what you plan to get done that week is really, really helpful.
Also, apply early action to as many places as possible. I thought I wouldn't be able to do this and get them in on time, but I was able to get them in early, and then I had to wait longer because I did regular decision.
All right, that is all the tips that I have for where you should get started and what I wish I knew. I hope this is really helpful, and I wish you all the relaxation possible, because I know it's going to get stressful, but you can get through it. And if you enjoyed this video, it would mean the world if you could subscribe and like the video and comment any questions you have after this video, or if you have anything about the audition process, or you have something you want me to make a video on, leave that down below. I wish you the best of luck writing your essays and have a wonderful day. Bye.